Hi, I'm April.
And I'm Bailey.
We are real-life friends and neighbors.
Together we run a business called Passionist Designs.
Our favorite part of our job is being in people's homes and hearing their stories. As we became inspired by these stories, we wanted to share them with others. That's where the Nestled podcast was born.
So join us each week as we are encouraged to pursue our own design decisions based on what we love instead of what fills our Instagram feed. Every home has a story, and we can't wait to hear yours.
Welcome back, guys. We hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and that you enjoyed time with friends and family, and that you invited some people around your Thanksgiving table.
Yep.
And I think that the thing that we want to say that we're thankful for this week is the Thanksgiving table and the opportunity to invite people around. We talked a little bit about this event that we're a part of that our church puts on each year, and we were able to do that again this year. Bailey, will you tell everyone a little bit about it?
Yeah, each year we are able to get together. Our whole church comes together, and we're able to serve the foster families in our community. And we have been blessed year after year to get to see these people and the work that they're doing. And we're so thankful for those in our community who are caring for the most vulnerable kids. And so it's something that we both really enjoy.
Right.
And we're so grateful, too, to all the people who have come on board. We had a few outside people help us contribute this year, too, which made it easier for us and a better event. And so we hope to just see it continue to grow, I think.
Right. We didn't want to let this week go by without saying that we are so thankful for those often unseen servants, the foster parents in our county, and these people that we've had the privilege to get to know over the last few years and the work that they're doing. And so that's what we're thankful for today. And we hope that you guys will look around and find some things that you're thankful for and share them with us, share them with the people around you, and just take a moment to be grateful. With that, we want to lead into our interview for today.
Yes, we were able to talk to Courtney DeFeo, and she started a movement called the Light 'em Up movement. I think she said in 2011. So she's been doing this for a few years. And we love this because one of our biggest goals in our families and for our kids is that they see others.
Right.
And that they notice people and they love on people. But also it's a goal for us. And so we thought this would be a great time of year to talk about this as we head into the Christmas season. And I'm going to read just the description of Light 'em Up from the website before we start the interview. It says, Light 'em Up is a movement of families lighting up the world with kindness. It doesn't matter your age, location, or means. We believe each person can impact the life of another. With a simple thank you or expression of love, your one act of kindness can start a ripple effect that goes well beyond one neighbor. When you invite your family to begin this new tradition, hearts begin to change. Enjoy the difference. And so with that, we're going to just hop right into this interview with Courtney, and we hope that you hear some things that you can implement as you head
in your
into
own
this
life,
December.
some things to grab a hold of and to look outside of yourself this Christmas.
So here's Courtney.
Okay, so we're so excited to have Courtney DeFeo. Is that how you say it?
You got it.
Correct?
Yes.
Awesome. With us today. And Courtney, tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Absolutely. Well, like she said, I'm Courtney DeFeo, and I will go ahead and tell you it means of ugly in Spanish.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't know that until I married in. That was a very wise move on his part. But we're actually Italian. I'm married into an Italian guy. But whenever I meet someone that speaks Spanish, they start giggling. And I'm like, what? And I early on was like, why are you laughing at me? And so that I've had to tell my girls that they are beautiful girls, but their last name means they are of ugly. So aren't we all coming from sin?
That's right. That's right.
So I have two girls that are 8 and 10, and we are new Texans. So I've learned quickly that people are raging fans of Texans.
They are. People who are from Texas are like Texas people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't think I can say I'm a Texan because I wasn't born here. So it's a very big deal if you were born and raised Texan. But we are in Texas, and we're embracing the culture. But I'm originally from Georgia. And I went to Auburn, and my husband's a Georgia Bulldog, so I know those are very important things to say here in football season.
They're very important in the South.
It matters to me.
Okay, so you
as an Auburn, I did. I went to Auburn.
Okay.
Auburn is maybe our favorite place in the world.
Okay, so you've been in Texas for how long now?
I think my kids know this better. I'm losing my memory each year that passes, and I'm only 41, and I think they would tell you 2 years. I think that's right. This is their third school year. It's all a blur.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, so we know about Courtney from years ago. My family and I did the light 'em up at Christmas time, and just a way of like loving on your neighbors and getting out there and just serving together as a family, which I think is so important. And oftentimes, I think we kind of separate that there's like mission and there's like other life. And one of the things that we feel very passionately about is like missional living, and that everything about our life is about seeing the people around us and like helping to love people and meet their needs where they are. And so tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Early on, when I became a mom, I ended up leaving my corporate job that was in marketing and loved it and was so torn, like many women out there. And I don't think there's one right way. It's a real personal decision. But I ended up leaving a job I loved and stayed home with my girls. And I was feeling like, how do I day to day do intentional, spiritual, faith based, virtue based things with my kids? And they were really little, but also keep them alive. There's like real
Right.
actual things. It's like we've
Right.
got to get dinner on the table, and that stuff doesn't go away, and it feels urgent and it feels timely, and we're all exhausted. But really, my drive was to take moms just like you two and say, okay, as you're bouncing that baby and you've got another one on your hip, how can y'all go through the drive-through at Chick-fil-A and still go to the mall at Christmas time, and just like you did with Light 'em Up, like do real actual tactical things that show this is what it feels like to live out generosity.
Right.
This is what it feels like to live out gratitude. So maybe you could share, what it was like, because not every day it was probably easy or perfect to try light them up.
Right. We enjoyed the first of all the freedom of it, that it was like, okay, well today let's look and see what do we want to do? Like what's something that seems like is doable. We're going to the grocery store today. So like who at the grocery store can we love? And then we loved having like some examples of real practical ways that we could do that. And even was talking to my daughter last night because they were asking who we were interviewing today, and I was telling them, and I said, "Do you remember when we did that?" And she said, "Yes, that was so fun. I hope we do that again this year." And so we haven't done it in a couple of years, and at the time we were homeschooling, and that made it a little bit more that I felt like this real urge of like they're with me all the time, and I'm so responsible to like make sure that they're getting everything, like you want to like.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was just a very like practical. And at the time I had like infant up to, I think my oldest was probably 8. And so they really enjoyed, and I've loved that even since then, that like they notice people. And that's one thing that we feel very passionately about for my own self, but also for my kids, is that I don't think that that's by nature for most people, but that they see the people around them, and that they go, okay, like I see that you're having a bad day, so like I'm gonna go out of my way to just even start a conversation, but that I can do something really simple like giving you your favorite candy, like asking
Right.
like what's your favorite candy, and then buying it for you in the checkout line and giving it to you. Like those are
Yeah.
just small ways to show love. And that
But really, it started with God just kind of stirring my heart and going, what resources could I give to mom? And what you're speaking of is Light 'em Up was like that first blog post that was more than my mom and a friend were reading. That was like the first one that kind of went, I don't even know what viral is anymore, but like more than 3 people read. Like it went around Pinterest and it went around the country in a way that was like, oh my goodness, other people are drawn to this. It's not just me that's feeling this urge to do something with my kids on a day-to-day basis that matters to the world around them, and get their hands and feet in the game. And so Light 'em Up, I just started saying, okay, what could they do? And I asked my girls, like right around our house, like who do you think needs good things? Like who should we say thanks to around Christmas versus it's focusing on all that we could get. What could we give around Christmas? And so now it's like a year-round thing. But then, right then, in 2011, when this started, it was very much a Christmas thing. Like I just was kind of sickened by the consumption that we were doing, and thought, what should we give? And so they came up with the garbage man thing. They were like, why don't we thank the garbage man? I was like, perfect. So we put this poster on the front and said, thank you. And now, like, it is so amazing to look back and see, like, that one idea went around the country.
Right.
One thing I love about Light 'em Up, too, is I think at Christmas time, we can be so consumeristic and so about ourselves. And so if you can turn not even just our kids' minds and hearts towards others at this time of year, but our own, then I think you kind of start off the new year on the right foot.
Right.
With that mindset, rather than starting off the new year like, well, the past month has been all about us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even love that. What I have seen is that my oldest is now almost 14, and my daughter that's directly under him is almost 12. And what we have seen is that this cultivating in their hearts is now like their desire. They've always been pretty generous by nature, and it's nothing that we've done. Like the Lord just really gave them a heart for other people early on. And I think that some of that being in my husband's a pastor, and so being in a ministry family, like they've experienced a lot of seeing people in great need, and have been able to go on the mission field and that kind of thing. And that shapes their view on things. But I've loved to see that like they're so much less consumeristic than I am at times, and so they are pushing me. And as a matter of fact, the birthday after we did Light 'em Up for Christmas, my son and daughter both had decided that they were going to use their birthdays that year to have a joint birthday party and not get gifts, and they asked everyone to bring a few different items for the local homeless shelter, and used that as a way of like, I don't know, it was just really cool that God, like, I didn't initiate that. They had seen a lot of homeless people on the overpass close to where we lived, and they kept saying like, how do we love these people? It's really cold outside. I bet they need blankets. I bet, and it was just that my son actually called the homeless shelter and said, what are some items, he was probably 8 at the time, what are some items that you need? And they gave him a list, and he sent it to all his friends and our family and said, can you bring this to my birthday party? And so it was just really cool to start to see our kids like take hold of that on their own. It's been really cool as a parent to see.
We went around and did a candy cane challenge and thanked everyone that was working Christmas Eve, and they got actual hugs, and they got tears, they got big security guards. And so I like that moment for them to see like your little life and you're 4 years old can make an impact. But I also like showing them that like sometimes we're going to do this in secret, and it matters not that they know who we are, and they'll never know, but God knows. So we'll sneak over and buy somebody's dinner and sneak out, or we'll pay for someone's Starbucks, or we will do something behind the scenes. So both of those conversations are really important. And when I see it start to be about my children, I'm like pull them aside and go, no, we don't care.
Right.
This isn't about it. It's been the coolest thing to watch God prompt their little hearts and me go, okay, yeah, you want to take water to our mailman? And then he's like, you had no idea it was so hot today, and he's dripping with sweat. And so there's so many moments I could tell you for hours that have just, God's really shown up in my kids' hearts, and not just mine, all over the world. So it's been fun.
Right. I have a question for you. What do you think about for single people who are like, I would love to be part of something like Light 'em Up, or I want to be really intentional with my home, but it's hard because I don't have a family. And so whenever I think about like going to the mall by myself, and it's just a little bit more awkward. You don't quite have the same the same comfort level of having people with you to encourage you in that. How would you encourage single people to make the best use of their homes and of their the people around them and loving them well?
Yeah, I've always said, and in the service chapter, I talk about this, that serving is so much more fun when it's done in a group. And I think that my sister and I are a great example of this. We are so different. I would do Light 'em Up every single day and do a million things. I think it's so fun, and I'm just ideas. Yay, let's stay busy. And my sister is like, I can't read your blog. It stresses me out. And so she's like, I will do one thing, and thank you very much, in the end. So what she did during Christmas one year, and she's not single, but it'll just give you an idea. She was like, I can do literally one party. So she had one party, and it was like on a Saturday, and she has 2 boys, and she invited a few of her friends over, and they made cookies, and they went to the fire station together. And so I think it gave her relief. It was like something she wanted to do with her boys, but she was like, I cannot think about all that. Like, I'm doing good if I get them to bed and if I get like them fed. And like for someone that's working, you're like, I can't think about Light 'em Up. I'm just like coming home and getting everybody in the bed. So I think for a single person, that's what I would do, is try to find some other friends that you can gather with, because I think kids feed off of each other, and you'll have fun with the other moms, and it won't feel such like a burden to cut out the things or Ziploc the bags or whatever, if you're kind of doing it in a group, and then you can kind of band together on supplies and say, hey, let's just meet at the mall. You bring this, I'll bring that, and let's do it together. And it's more fun with friends.
Yeah. And I think if anybody is in church in small groups, this is a great idea for your small groups to kind of implement.
Yeah, and it's all free. I don't want to be like, and you go to CourtneyDeFeo.com, but really that was the point of it, was that this like 100-something ideas on there, and it's really, you just take what would work for your family. And some of them, like there's military ideas. Some people went down to the airport and they just stood there with posters and welcomed people coming off of the planes that were coming home. There's so many. Just so read through the list with your group of friends and your family this holidays and just say that's like one thing or two things I could do with my family that and it may not go perfect, but you may see the seed of something birthed in one of your kids. You're like, I had no idea he or she was passionate about that, and I see the little passion come to life.
So along that same line, what would you say is something that you want your kids to remember about your home as they grow up?
Their childhood home.
And their childhood, yeah.
Yeah, well, my book is called In This House We Will Giggle, and ironically, I have a feisty, fiery personality. So as much fun as I have, I don't want them to remember fear and anger as much as they remember joy and fun. I want them to remember that this was the safest place that they could be. And so we do have a lot of fun. We have a lot of headgear. We have a lot of roller skating in the house. Things are messy from time to time, and then there is a time to clean up. I was writing a note earlier to tell you that I have one drawer in our really formal. We have a lot of antiques for my mom that I just love that mixture of bringing in sentimental things and stories. But in one of our fanciest rooms, you open the top drawer and it's full of balloons. And most kids know when they come in our house that they can go find a balloon in that top drawer, and they just go get it and they blow it up and they start playing balloon volleyball, or they just play in our house. So I want any child to know that they're welcome in our home, they're safe in our home, and they can be a kid. Because I think it's so critical to play. And I try so hard to, we have our Netflix moments. And I'm like, we've set up our backyard in a way, like, I never had a trampoline, so they got a trampoline.
Right.
And I had a ballet bar, and I gave them a ballet bar and a dance floor. And I'm like, play, play, play. They're little for so few years that I'm like, no, it's not as safe as it was when we were little. But I'm like, go skip, go create something, go paint. But I want them to remember that it was a house that we were able to play and explore and fun. So I also love, and y'all probably getting this with your design stuff, is I also love good stories, like feeding your children with good stories to tell. And that is, and I always thought I loved antiques, but what I really do is I love the stories behind the pieces. And so like in my living room, the fancy one with the balloons, there's every wedding picture. And we just happen to have every couple in our family has still been married. So like my mom, her parents, their parents, his parents, like every couple is still married, which I'm so grateful for. But that's like a legacy of marriage. And so all of those is so rare. And so I think that's like a unique story of our family that we can show my kids. And so when they have friends walk in, people are drawn to that and they go, who's that? Who's that? And we talk about those marriages and what, they weren't perfect, but like, okay, this family was from here, and this is my brother, and this is my aunt, and this is my great aunt, and this is her dress, and she wore that dress, and that kind of thing. So, and it just gives me a million times to be able to tell my kids how important commitment and marriage is.
Right.
And they're pretty. Pretty pictures.
Yeah. On the subject of that, what would you say is like the overall style of your home?
Oh, man.
And if you don't have one, that's okay too.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of Southern going on. I'm originally a Georgia girl, so there's a lot of big, I guess it's buffalo check. There's a lot of hydrangeas and a lot of antiques going on. But I'm trying to find my way. And I would say just like every girl tries to find themselves, I'm 41. I'm still kind of trying to find my design style. And I'm not a designer. I can pick out a magazine and go, I like that. But I really do need help. And there's somewhere like I can flip through. Who doesn't watch Joanna Gaines and go, oh, it's so amazing. But I'm not farmhouse style. I like pieces of that mixed in, but that's not there was a time where I thought I needed to change my entire house to white because of Pinterest. And I was like, wait, no, I like color. I'm a creative girl. So there's a lot of navy going on in my house right now. I'm a pretty traditional Southern gal, but I am trying to figure out with the help of some designers now. And I haven't always been able to afford a designer. I've been able to, sometimes in the past I've traded, like, I'll trade you this service if you'll give me some design help. But right now I've had a couple designers helping me saying, like, how do I mix in a little bit of modern, a little bit of fun with the traditional pieces that I have, so it doesn't look like you've stepped into my grandmother's home. You do appreciate the older pieces, but there's some modern mixed in because I love gold. I love some glass.
Right.
So I can send y'all some pictures when we're done of a few rooms that we've been working on.
I think, too, a lot of people don't realize you can mix styles. Like, they think, oh, I've got to pick farmhouse or modern or bohemian. Like, you can mix. Just find what you like and make it work.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think for you, like for me, there's some lamps that my designer would say that's so 10 years ago. And I'm like, no, that means so much to me. You have no idea because it's my grandmother and you will not touch it.
Right. That
work around it.
Work around it. Right. You mentioned that you're using a designer. Would you say that decorating or design comes natural to you?
No, it really does not. And interestingly enough, people would assume that from ABC Scripture Cards, or one of my products that's been really successful. They've been on The View and they've been all over. They've been selling strong for 5 years. And they're like, you're such a great graphic designer. I'm like, I am not. I did not design those. I'm a great idea person. I can visually see things in my head, and then I have to rely on someone else to make that happen. So I knew the verses I wanted. I knew the color scheme. Like, again, I'm a good pointer. I'm like, that is yes, that is no. That won't work. So I can point people in the right direction, but I need someone that's a middleman in that step to get it to the end. And so that's been, in times of my life, I've been shameful about that and said, well, I'm not an artist. But I'm like, no, thank you very much. I'm very creative. And a lot of times I'll go to a designer and have this amazing creative vision. And she's like, that's incredible. Let me help you figure out how to make that happen.
Right.
It's been fun to work with designers that know how to pull off what's in my head. And sometimes frustrating. They're like pulling it out. Yeah. What do you mean?
But that is so fun. I mean,
it is fun.
That's what we do by trade. And we love that. That's like our favorite part of our job, is going in and talking to people and being like, oh, this is what you like. You didn't know it, but.
Right. And also that, like, you get to kind of tell people's story through their home. And that's just a really fun thing, because what we don't love is when someone's like, I want it to look just like cookie cutter this person. And sometimes, I mean, I get that. And yes, that magazine is beautiful, but it's not you. It's like you're setting up in someone else's home. But we love when we just recently worked with a client that had things from all over the world, and she had a little bit of this style and her husband was this style, and kind of what you're talking about. He loved modern and clean lines, and she had these antique pieces from her grandparents.
Very Southern.
Beautiful things, but very Southern, and just kind of being able to pull all of that together is so fun, and it's very challenging. And so I think that that's a neat thing for someone to work with. We love that. And that's kind of where we started the podcast from, was that we loved the stories behind people's homes.
The things like that lamp that you said.
Like the lamp.
I'll show you my lamp.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage women, because I think when we go to each other's houses, I mean, you can leave your house feeling like, man, I have arrived. I'm feeling so good about my house. And maybe you just left Home Goods and got that final little thing and you're feeling all good. And then you go to someone's house and you're like, oh my gosh, my house is crap. I want to like burn it down tomorrow. So I feel like I have to consciously realize, like, okay, that is awesome for them. That is their style. And make myself celebrate them and go, and out loud say it. I love your chairs. Like, even when I'm feeling like extremely envious, and be like, I can't believe I'm getting this jealous over somebody else's stuff. And just say it out loud. Your chairs are amazing, and just say it. Like, say it when you jealous, and just say, I love your chairs. You've done a great job with your house. Because we'd all feel great if somebody walked in and, instead of being jealous, gave you a weird look, said, your house is really beautiful, or whatever. And so, and also just put it in perspective and be like, okay, kids actually lived here. Let's like act like, or give each other the freedom to like leave stuff out.
Right.
Or on Instagram, I try to put pictures up of real stuff. I'm like, here's my junk closet. Here's my, like, I'll take some pictures later of y'all. Staged and a real.
And I think it's important to remember too, like, we all, for some reason, when we invite people over, think people are judging our houses so harshly. And I don't go into any of my friends' homes and think, gosh, this is ugly. I love all my friends' homes for what they are.
Right.
And so I think there's no reason to be so self-conscious. Like, just invite people over with the laundry on the couch, or,
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's such a trap.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Kind of a fun question. Is there something in your house that you're just loving right now, like a space or an item?
Yes. Okay, I'll take a picture and send y'all. I
Okay.
just finished my dining room, and I ripped on Sweet Joanna Gaines, but she's amazing. So I did.
She really is.
She's wonderful. I know. We always like we say that we don't want to be her because we're jealous. Like, she's perfect.
I just got one of her rugs in my.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
So I just finished that, and I put all those white plates on the wall back
Ooh,
there.
I love that too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love
fun.
that.
And then I was funny, the designer friend of mine that was helping me, I said, she picked out the rug for me, and I said, I need a couple blue lamps just to tie in that blue lamp. And she was at Home Goods. She's like, I'm staring at the blue lamps at Home Goods. I was like, get them.
I saw them on that buffet. We used some almost exactly,
Yeah.
maybe the same ones.
Is
in
that
a
Ralph
bedroom
Lauren?
recently.
Yes.
Yeah, we've used those.
Yeah, they
we
have
love
the
those
wood.
too.
The wood, we loved them so much.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
We actually built a whole bedroom off of the lamps.
We saw the lamps and we're like, we know what to do in this bedroom now.
And I got those guys, whatever, those buffalo chick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love those.
So cute.
We always use a picture of the house as the cover photo, so maybe you can send us a picture of that room.
Okay.
Because that looks really cute. We talked about it.
Yeah.
No one goes in there. That's the one clean room. The rest of it's a dirt pile. So okay, I have a question for the designers here. I am obsessed with gold. Like, I cannot stop. Is it going to go out like next year, and then I'm going to have to go to silver, and I'm going to be very upset about it?
It's going to go out at some point. We always laugh because we're in Mobile and everything is late. So we're always
People
like, we got
just
10
catching
years.
on. We're like, we have a long time before it goes out here because it's just starting to catch on here. But, I mean, I think it'll come and go. However, I think done classic gold has kind of stood the test of time. I mean, my grandmother has some lamps that are like fabulous gold that she's had for 50 years.
Forever, yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And so I think that they're, as far as the trendy, like, all gold, I think some of it'll go out, but I do think that you're gonna be able to hold on to good pieces forever.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like looking around. I'm like inventorying the.
But also, people think you can't mix metals, but you can totally mix metals.
Okay, that's good.
So if silver comes in, you can bring silver in.
And if you buy some trendy pieces, you can spray paint them later.
Okay, and I know you didn't ask me this question, but one of the people that have helped me that I love is Anissa Darnell, named Truth and Co. Out of Atlanta. You'll see her stuff like in Better Homes and Gardens. She's just a dear friend of mine, and I like quickly couldn't afford her, but she helped me do one. She helped me do one set of shelves. I'm going to send you a picture of, and she's precious. Her husband is a worship leader, and they're amazing. So I'll link to them, but you'll just go like. She's the one that got me into the all white stuff. I'm like, maybe I should change my entire life to all white.
Is she on Instagram?
She is. Yep, Truth and Co.
Truth and Co. Okay, we'll find her, and we'll link to her in the show notes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Courtney, so much. We appreciate you taking the time to do this. Where can listeners find you on the internet?
CourtneyDeFeo.com, or my Instagram is Little Light O' Mine.
As always, we don't want everyone to just listen to the podcast and then be like, oh, I feel so good, I'm so happy and encouraged now. We want you to be encouraged to action. And I think that, as always, this presents another opportunity for us to be able to get outside of ourselves, to look around us, to see the people around us who maybe need love or need encouragement or need just a hug this time of year. And it's really easy to get wrapped up in yourself, and this is a really busy time, but you don't have to have a family, you don't have to have kids to make someone feel special. I think that it's something that we can all be a part of and we can all do. And so we pulled up just some real practical ideas of how you can light up the people around you, and we want to encourage you, whether you're a single person, whether you have a house full of kids, like we can all be part of that and making the people around us feel special and loved.
Right. And we found these on the Light 'em Up website, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes. And there's actually a PDF with 100 ideas of ways that you can do it. And then you can also think of some on your own.
Right.
You know, so one that we really liked was the suggestion of just taking some sidewalk chalk and just writing nice messages on the driveway of a friend or a neighbor. And if you do have kids, they would love that.
Right.
But even as an adult, I love to draw with sidewalk chalk. And I would be really happy if someone did that for me. So we thought that was a cute idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Also, call someone and check in. I mean, I think about how many of us have a grandmother who always says, I never hear from you.
Right.
Or a family member who you could really check in and spend some time chatting with, who maybe it feels like you're connected because of social media, but are we really connected when we don't have face-to-face or even voice time with people? And so that's just a really simple way to love on someone.
Right. And then the last one we wanted to suggest is just maybe buy a box of candy canes and keep them in your car. And if you see someone who could use a little happiness or joy, just hand them a candy cane.
Yeah.
It may make a difference in their day. So just some easy, practical things. And like I said, we'll link you to the list of some more ideas. So we really hope you guys enjoyed this episode and that you really will try and light them up.
Yes, and tune in next week. The much anticipated Enneagram coach is going to be with us, and we're talking with her about some really exciting things, and so you're not going to want to miss that. And if you've missed the last few weeks and didn't catch up on the series with the ladies from Main Street and Loosedale, listen to those. You'll be so encouraged and so inspired. So thanks again for listening, and check us out on Instagram and Facebook, and our website is poshnestdesigns.com. As always, leave us reviews.
Yeah,
and we'll be so happy. So
yes, we would love your reviews on iTunes. It just helps other people find our podcast, and we really do. It is like Christmas morning when we
get
a
so
review.
happy.
We get very excited.
So don't think that it goes unnoticed. Like, we really do enjoy it.
Yes, we do. We love that. So thank you guys again for listening, and we hope that you all have a good time as you dive into this Christmas season. So
yeah,
we'll be
see
back
you guys next week.
See you next week. Bye.